DotCom Secrets by Russell Brunson. Introduction. When most kids were outside, chasing a ball or collecting baseball cards, there was one 12-year-old boy who had a very different kind of hobby. Every afternoon, he'd race home from school, his heart pounding, not to play video games, but to check the mailbox. He was obsessed with what most people call junk mail. He would spend hours sifting through catalogs, sales letters, and free report offers, studying them like a scholar. He didn't know it then, but in those piles of discarded paper, he was uncovering a set of secrets. Secrets that weren't just about selling things through the mail, but about the timeless principles of human psychology: what makes people pay attention, what makes them trust, and what makes them decide to act. Years later, that young man, Russell Brunson, would take those same secrets he learned from junk mail and apply them to the new frontier of the internet. While others were building simple websites and hoping for customers, he was building something else entirely, something invisible to the naked eye. He created a system that allowed him to grow a company from his college dorm room into a business empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. He discovered what he calls the underground playbook for growing your company online. Today, we're going to open that playbook. This isn't just another book about internet marketing. It's a map. A map that reveals the hidden structure behind every successful online business. It answers the one question that haunts so many entrepreneurs: why do some businesses flourish online, while others, with great products, fade away? The answer, as you'll soon discover, has very little to do with your website and everything to do with something called a sales funnel. By the end of our time together today, you will understand the fundamental architecture of online success. You'll see the patterns that drive traffic, build trust, and create customers for life. This isn't about fleeting tricks or social media hacks. This is about the deep, unchanging principles of selling in the modern world. Prepare to see the internet not as a collection of websites, but as a series of carefully crafted journeys, and you're about to get the blueprint to build your own. Book summary. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to build online businesses that just take off? They create something, and it feels like almost overnight, they have a flood of customers, while someone else, with a product that's just as good, or maybe even better, launches to the sound of crickets. They have a beautiful website, a great logo, but nobody is buying. It's one of the most frustrating experiences for an entrepreneur. Russell Brunson argues that this happens because most people are focused on the wrong thing. They build a website, which is like building a beautiful storefront in the middle of a desert, and then they pray for visitors. The successful ones, however, understand a secret. What you see, their website, their social media page, is just the tip of the iceberg. The real business, the machine that generates millions, is the 90% of the iceberg that's hidden beneath the surface. That hidden structure is what he calls a sales funnel. Before we can even begin to build that structure, Russell says we have to go back to the very beginning and answer 4 simple but profound questions. He calls this the secret formula. Every other strategy in his playbook is built upon the foundation of these 4 questions. If you skip this step, nothing else will work. The first question is, who is your dream customer? This sounds simple, but it's where most people go wrong. They think, I want to sell to everyone, but as Russell learned the hard way, trying to serve everyone means you end up serving no one, and you become miserable in the process. He tells a story about the early days of his business when he was teaching people how to start their own companies online. He made a lot of money, but he was exhausted and unhappy. Why? Because he was spending 99% of his time teaching absolute beginners the basics, like how to buy a domain name, when what he was truly passionate about was teaching advanced strategies to people who were already in the game. He was serving the wrong who, so he stopped and took the time to create a detailed picture of his ideal client. He even gave them names: Mike and Julie, found pictures that represented them, and wrote down their passions, their goals, and their dreams. This isn't just a silly exercise, it changes everything. When you know exactly who you want to serve, every other decision becomes clear. Which leads to the second question: where can you find them? Your dream customers aren't just floating in cyberspace. They are already gathered together in digital congregations. They read the same blogs, follow the same influencers on Instagram, subscribe to the same YouTube channels, and join the same Facebook groups. Russell was a wrestler in college, and he remembers how every wrestler he knew, from all over the country, would hang out on the same website, the DotCom, to talk about wrestling. That was a congregation. If you had a product for wrestlers, you wouldn't need to find them one by one. You'd just go to where they are already gathered. Your job isn't to create traffic out of thin air, it's to find the existing streams of traffic and redirect them to your offer. The third question is, what bait will you use to attract them? Once you know where your dream customers are congregating, you can't just show up and yell, "Buy my stuff." You need to offer them something of immense value that catches their attention and makes them want to learn more. This bait has to be something they desperately want, something that solves a burning pain for them. When Russell shifted his focus to more experienced business owners, his bait changed. He created a book called 108 Proven Split Test Winners. A beginner wouldn't even know what a split test is, so they'd ignore it. But his dream customer, Mike or Julie, would see that title and think, "I need that." The right bait attracts your dream client and simultaneously repels everyone else. And finally, the fourth and most important question: what result do you want to give them? This isn't about what product you want to sell them. It's about the transformation you want to provide. Think about it this way: if your dream client could pay you any amount of money to guarantee their success, what would you do for them? What is the highest level of service, the ultimate result you could deliver? For Russell, that ultimate result is $1 million service where his team flies to a client's office and builds out their entire sales system for them. Now, obviously, not everyone can afford $1 million service. And you can't walk up to a stranger and ask for $1 million. Why? Because you haven't provided any value yet. This is where we uncover the core engine of the entire .com secret system, the value ladder. Imagine a staircase. On the bottom axis, you have price, and on the vertical axis, you have value. The ultimate result you just defined, your highest ticket, most transformative service, is at the very top right of that staircase. But no one starts there. You have to lead them up the ladder, one step at a time. Russell explains this with a brilliant and simple story about going to the dentist. He went in because of an ad for a free teeth cleaning. That was the bait, the first step on the value ladder. It was low risk and offered value. While he was there, the dentist provided the service and then noticed his teeth were a little yellow. He asked, "Would you like some custom teeth whitening trays?" Russell said yes. He had received value, so he naturally wanted more. He ascended to the next step. Then the dentist noticed his bottom teeth were shifting and asked if he'd like a retainer. Again, Russell said yes. He walked in for a free cleaning and walked out having spent thousands of dollars, happily, because at each step, he was offered more value. If he had needed cosmetic surgery, the dentist's highest value service, that would have been the next step on the ladder. Every successful business, whether they realize it or not, has a value ladder. The bait is the front end, the low-cost or free offer that gets your dream customers to raise their hand and identify themselves. Then you have offerings in the middle of the ladder, and finally, your high-end offer at the back. So, how do you move people up this ladder? You do it with a sales funnel. A sales funnel is simply the online process that takes someone through the steps of your value ladder. Each step of your ladder has its own corresponding funnel. You start by sending all your potential customers, what marketers call traffic, into the top of the funnel with your bait. A certain percentage of people will take that bait. Then, you immediately offer them the next step on your value ladder. A smaller percentage will take that offer. Then you offer them the next step, and so on. As people move down the funnel, the crowd gets smaller, but the value and the price of what you're offering get higher. At the very bottom of the funnel emerge your dream clients, the small number of people who are willing and able to purchase your highest ticket service. The reason this is so critical is because it completely changes the economics of your business. Remember the story of Drew from FitLife.tv? He was spending $116 to sell a $97 product. He was losing money on every customer. The problem wasn't his traffic or his conversion rate, it was his funnel. He had no value ladder. He sold one product, and the relationship ended. By helping him build out a funnel with more offerings, more steps on his value ladder, he could make 2 or 3 times as much money from each customer. And this brings us to what may be the single most important mantra in the entire book, a lesson from marketing legend Dan Kennedy. Ultimately, the business that can spend the most to acquire a customer wins. If your competitor can only afford to spend $50 to get a customer, but your funnel is so effective that you can spend $150 and still be profitable, you will win. Always. You can outbid them on every ad platform, buy more traffic, and scale your business to the moon while they struggle to break even. A deep, effective sales funnel is what gives you that power. Now, a funnel is useless without people to put into it. So, where do these people come from? This is the traffic question that paralyzes so many entrepreneurs. Russell simplifies it beautifully. He says there are only 3 types of traffic: traffic you control, traffic you don't control, and traffic you own. Traffic you control is any traffic you pay for. Think of Google ads, Facebook ads, or banner ads. You can tell this traffic exactly where to go. The problem is, every time you want more, you have to spend more money. Traffic you don't control is traffic that just shows up. Someone mentions you on social media, you get search traffic from Google, or a guest appears on a podcast. You have no control over it. The one and only goal with these first 2 types of traffic is to turn them into the third type, traffic you own. Traffic you own is your email list. It is the single most important asset in your business. It is your own distribution channel. You can send a message to this list anytime you want, for free, and generate instant traffic and sales. Russell says that, as a rule of thumb, you can expect to make about $1 per month for every person on your email list. Have a list of 10,000 people? That's potentially $10,000 a month in income. When you understand that math, building your list becomes your highest priority. So, you send all the traffic you control and don't control to a simple web page called a squeeze page. Its only purpose is to offer something of value, your bait, in exchange for an email address. Once someone gives you their email, they are no longer just a visitor, they are traffic you own. They've entered your world. But now, a new challenge arises. You have their email address. What do you say to them? How do you build a relationship, provide value, and get them to ascend your value ladder without being pushy or annoying? This is where Russell introduces the concept of the attractive character. People don't buy from businesses, they buy from people they know, like, and trust. The attractive character is the persona you create to communicate with your audience. It's the face and voice of your business. Think about Jared from Subway. For over a decade, Subway wasn't just a fast food chain, it was a weight loss plan fronted by a relatable guy who lost hundreds of pounds eating their sandwiches. People related to Jared's story, and they bought what he was selling. That is the power of an attractive character. Your attractive character needs 3 things: a backstory, the ability to speak in parables, and character flaws. You share your backstory because you want people to see where you came from. If they can relate to your struggle, they will want to follow you to your success. You speak in parables, little stories that teach lessons, because stories are how we connect and remember. And you share your flaws because nobody relates to a perfect person. Your flaws make you human and build a bond of trust. Once you have your attractive character, you use 2 specific email sequences to build a relationship with your new subscribers. The first is called the soap opera sequence. Just like a TV soap opera that uses cliffhangers to keep you tuning in day after day, this is a sequence of 5 emails sent over 5 days that tells a dramatic story. It starts with high drama, shares your backstory, reveals an epiphany you had, and gently leads the reader toward your product, all while creating an unbreakable bond between them and your attractive character. After the soap opera sequence is over, you switch to what Russell calls daily Seinfeld emails. The TV show Seinfeld was famously a show about nothing. These emails are the same. They are entertaining stories about your everyday life, something funny your kid did, a frustrating experience at the grocery store, a random thought you had while driving. They seem to be about nothing, but each story has a purpose. It artfully transitions into a lesson that relates back to a product you are selling. These daily emails keep you top of mind, entertain your audience, and consistently generate sales without ever feeling like a hard pitch. So, let's put it all together. The whole system, the entire .com secrets framework, looks like this. You start with the secret formula: who, where, bait, and result. This helps you define your value ladder. Then, you build funnels to ascend people up that ladder. The most powerful bait to start your first funnel is a free plus shipping offer. Russell discovered through testing that offering a physical product like a book or a CD for free, and only asking the customer to cover shipping, dramatically outperforms selling that same product for even a very low price. There is an irrational power in the word free. More importantly, it gets the customer to pull out their credit card and make a small commitment. And as he learned, a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. Once someone says that first yes, it's infinitely easier to get the second yes. So you drive traffic you control and don't control to a funnel with a free plus shipping offer. When they give you their email and pay for shipping, they enter your world. They are now traffic you own. They immediately begin receiving your soap opera sequence, which builds a bond with your attractive character. Simultaneously, right after they buy the initial offer, you present them with an upsell, the next step on the value ladder. After the initial transaction, they start receiving your daily Seinfeld emails, which provide value, entertainment, and opportunities to ascend to the other offers in the middle and at the back end of your value ladder. This is the engine. This is the 90% of the iceberg hidden beneath the water. It's not a website. It's a carefully engineered, psychologically driven system for finding your dream customers, building a relationship with them, and serving them at the highest possible level, one step at a time. It's a playbook that turns the chaotic and confusing world of online business into a simple, predictable, and scalable machine. Commentary. As we close the pages of .com secrets, it's easy to feel a bit overwhelmed. We've journeyed through funnels, ladders, traffic temperatures, and attractive characters. But I want you to take a step back with me and see the simple, powerful truth at the heart of it all. What Russell Brunson has done here is not invent a new way of doing business. He has simply taken the timeless, fundamental principles of direct marketing, the very same principles he discovered as a boy obsessed with junk mail, and translated them for the digital age. The technology will always change. Facebook might not be here in 10 years. Google's algorithms will shift 1,000 times. But the psychology of the value ladder, the human need to connect with a story through an attractive character, the power of a carefully constructed journey that builds trust before asking for a sale, those things are permanent. They are rooted in how we, as human beings, make decisions. What I find most profound about this book is its relentless focus on providing value first. The entire model is built on a simple, generous idea. Give your customer a result, even a small one, and they will naturally want more. The free teeth cleaning leads to the whitening trays. The free book leads to the home study course. It's a philosophy of service that masquerades as a marketing strategy. You're not tricking people into buying, you're leading them on a path where they are happy to ascend because each step genuinely helps them. This book serves as a powerful reminder that a business is not a product or a website. A business is a system. It's a process for finding people you can serve, understanding their deepest desires, and creating a pathway for them to achieve their goals. The funnels are just the roads on that map. So, where do you begin with all this? It can feel like a mountain to climb. My advice is to start small. Don't try to build the entire system overnight. Just take one idea. For the next week, I want you to do one thing. Answer the first question of the secret formula. Who is your dream customer? Don't just think about demographics. Think about their heart. What are they afraid of? What do they hope for? What keeps them up at night? Sketch out that person. Give them a name. Find a picture. If you can get crystal clear on that one thing, on the who, you will have laid the most important cornerstone for everything that follows. The rest of this book is simply the architectural plan for the house you will build for them. That was a summary of .com Secrets by Russell Brunson. We've explored the core framework today, but I have to be honest with you, a summary can only ever show you the map. The real adventure happens when you embark on the journey yourself. The true value is in the details, the specific scripts, and the way the concepts click into place as you read them. This summary is your guide to decide if this journey is one you want to take. If you're an entrepreneur, a marketer, or anyone with a message to share, and if anything we've discussed today has sparked a new idea or a new possibility, then I encourage you to grab a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning tactics, it's about fundamentally shifting how you see the entire landscape of business. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if you found this summary valuable, please do me a small favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It lets me know that this work is making a difference for you, and it ensures you won't miss our next exploration into another life-changing book. Let's keep learning and growing together.